I just want to say thank you so much for the overwhelming comments, contributions, the reactions that I got from yesterday's video. I had no idea that the video would go so viral, that I would have so many shares. I can't even remember. I think the last time I saw it had like over 200 shares, over 1,000 plus comments and stuff. It's just amazing, and we're all learning. We're all in the process of learning, and we are focused to one thing. We want to see Brian Mundubile win the elections. We want to see a better Zambia for you and me. Yes, I know some people are saying you guys are in the diaspora. You don't know what we're going through. We are still Zambians. If you don't want us, give us a new country and we'll go. For now, we're still Zambians. So please call someone, tag someone, and let them join. I just want to do a quick summary of today's rally. Just some really important points that I picked from the Mpika rally. Very, very important points, and I would want us to discuss them. I just want us to stress and add a bit of sugar. We don't want salt. Salt is not good for the heart. Yeah, salt would give you high blood pressure. We don't want to have high blood pressure. So thank you so much for coming. I promise you, I'm not going to take much of your time, but let's interact. Put your comments there and let me know what you think. So, as you guys are aware, we had a rally today in Mpika and it was beautiful. Yeah, I know Mundubile and his running mate Mpika Zulu have had rallies in other places. They've been successful, but for some reason today there was just a different vibe to the Mpika rally, and I said, you know what, I'm going to make a video about this, and I'll make sure that it's live, because we need to share some of these points. We need to stress some of these things. And usually when there's a rally going on, the candidates are really pressured, to speak. They are being timed, these rallies are being given time. You can't go beyond a certain time. So they're really trying to fit in everything. They're trying by all means to summarize everything. But at the end of the day, that's why you have people like us that will still sit down and be able to explain the points one by one. So even if this video is going to take an hour, you can go do whatever, come back, you'll still find me. And if you have time, you will go back and you are going to listen to the video. Am I audible enough? Am I audible enough? Yeah? Just give me those hearts if you can hear me clearly. All right. So, we had so many people that took up the stage and said so many things, beautiful things, but I would just like to talk about what Mpika and the incoming president, Brian Mundubile, spoke about. Yeah, who's trying to call me? Yeah, I'm just going to ponder on that. So we started out with other candidates speaking, and then Mpika got the mic. This was where the whole thing started. I loved how Mpika started the whole program. He started with a song of praise and worship. If you are a Christian, you know that meant something. It's like he was surrendering everything to God, and he was saying, God, it's not about the I, but the you in me. Speak through me. You are the shepherd and we are the sheep. Lead us. Yeah, he had to set his grounds. Yeah, Mpika Zulu acknowledged God even before everything else started. Before the president could even come, he ushered the president in by introducing and letting everybody know and acknowledge that everything that they were about to do, they put it in the hands of God, and they just set the whole atmosphere. And I think it made it so unique. The whole crowd was calm. He was able to connect with his crowd. When there was so much noise, he was able to, like relate with the crowd and just get them back and get their attention. That is a skill. Public speaking just doesn't come just like that. It's a skill. I've seen some very big political leaders who would just go on talking and talking and talking. There's so much noise, people are screaming and the like, but he really tried to control the atmosphere. He tried to control the crowd, which is Excellent. That just tells you what sort of a leader he is. I love the fact that they delivered the rally in our local language. They spoke proper Bemba, not the Bemba ya Makona ya Shani. No. They spoke proper Bemba, and that was just amazing. You know, the people that were there didn't struggle. I always struggle when it comes to translations. I do quite a lot of translations for some languages, and to be honest, to be on the other side and listening to two people speaking two languages sometimes gets a bit confusing for me. But these guys went into Mpika. They knew Mpika is Bemba speaking, and they hit the nail on the head, and they were speaking Bemba. Makebi came in with his Mbuya sheep. That was amazing. So for Makebi, his points were, he didn't talk about the manifesto. What he spoke about were the promises that were made by the current government during the last elections, what they said they would do for the people and did not do. He was trying to remind the people to say, we were promised A, B, C, and D. But these people have not reached the promises that they said they would deliver. They have not delivered the promises to us, and these were the promises. Do you people agree? And everybody else agreed. After Makebi finished, when President Mundubile came about, I'm very prophetic, when he came on stage, he went ahead and started to sell his manifesto, now telling the people what his government was going to do for them. I'm just going to remind you about some of the things that Makebi spoke about. Very, very profound points. So Makebi talked about the promises that were made by UPND. He mentioned about the milli meal issue. Remember how UPND came about telling us how they were going to reduce milli meal to 50 kwacha? I have papers with me here. I had to write down a few notes, you know, during the whole campaign, so that I don't miss anything. So I'm well organized. If you see me look that way, I'm just trying to refer to my notes. Yeah. So he talked about the milli meal prices, saying you promised that milli meal, when you came in, you found milli meal at such a price, and you said you bring it down to 50 kwacha. How much is milli meal now? He was challenging the crowd. He talked about fertilizer prices. He said, you promised that from 750 kwacha, fertilizer will come down to 250 kwacha per bag. Today, tell me, how much is fertilizer being sold at? Makebi went on and talked about what SATA did during the PF times. He said SATA came into power. SATA built roads. When you talk about roads, you're talking about development. SATA built roads. He built hospitals. He turned districts. You know, he made little small towns and turned them into districts. He brought that structure into the country. Yeah, he gave a face to provinces and made districts. Things now became decentralized. Wezoziwa manje kampika kachindiki wa yankala district. It meant certain things that were being done at provincial level could be done at district level, because now there was, you know, decentralization of power. He spoke about what SATA did. He spoke about the reserves. I'm not going to go deep into the reserves because this is something that we've been talking about, and he went ahead and gave an illustration on he gave an example of a father and a son and the like. We've been hearing that. I don't want to ponder more on this topic of foreign reserves, because it's been the talk of the day. Yesterday, I did a whole video talking about it. So if you want to know more about it, refer to my yesterday video and we'll be able to get into details. Yeah. He talked about council workers not being paid. When the UPND government came in, they were singing, saying, hey, council workers, you're not being paid. You're going on strike. When we come in, you'll be paid. What's happening today? Are the council workers still being paid? Yeah. So we were promised 10 bags of fertilizer when we vote the UPND into power. Hakainde Hichilema gave an example of himself saying, I'm a farmer. I know what you people are going through. He made it so personal. You see, when I say that Zambians were emotional people and we make our decisions based on emotions, because Hakainde Hichilema stood in front of us and told us, gave us his personal stories. Yeah. Personal stories, personal experience. He said he's a farmer himself, so he knows exactly what a farmer needs. And when all the farmers were listening, they were like, well, we have found a savior, a person that really understands us, a person that speaks our language. And definitely, if he's a farmer, he's going to come and he'll turn things around for us. But what happened? The 10 bags of fertilizer that were promised ended up to be medas that people were sharing. Now people started sharing a bag into my container. That was a total mess, and Makebi reminded people of this. Yeah, he went on and talked about how yesterday's rally, how the president referred to them as boys. This is a stereotype. Yeah, you cannot have a leader that talks bad about young people when young people make up the most of Zambia's population. If you sit back and you think that statement only went to Makebi and Brian Mundubile, then you are wrong. That statement applied to every young person in Zambia. He was simply telling you, you can't lead. So if you're a young person that wants to take up leadership roles, your president, HH, is telling you that you cannot do it because you're a young person. You're boys. What do boys know? Leave the men to do the thing. No, sir. Young people are capable. Young people have the power. Young people have the skill. Young people have the knowledge. They can only demonstrate that if you give them the opportunity, if you give them the platform to show you what they're made of and what they're able to do. Young people are willing and ready to be guided by you. But if you're going to stand in front of your supporters, in front of the whole nation, and tell young people off to say that they cannot lead the nation, sir, we do not need you in power. We do not need you in State House. You are in the wrong place, because young people make up the most of Zambia's population. We are the voters. We are the ones that rally behind you. We are the ones that call you and make all these praise songs. Behind you, you had all these young people. Once my singers, everybody else that was there. Majority of the people that turned up for yesterday's rally were young people. And for you to sit down and start cheering because Hakainde Hichilema called Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubile boys, and you're cheering and you're happy about it, I feel very sorry for you. I feel very sorry for you. You're not using your brains to think. You're using something else to think. Because if you're using your brains, you could have sat back and said, no. This is not it. I cannot take it. You know, how does he undermine me as a young person? Yeah? Bracket, no, he's referring to all young people. That is his view of young people, and we do not want such a leader. We want a leader that's going to acknowledge young people, a leader that's going to believe in young people, a leader that is going to guide young people and show them the way, because young people are the leaders of today, not tomorrow, but today. So equip the young people. Mandela, yes. So that is what Makebi ended up with. That's what I picked from his points that he made. The most unique part was how he introduced the incoming president of the Republic of Zambia. I loved it. I just loved it. This thing was just flowing so natural. This thing was flowing very natural. He said, he gave a brief history in seconds, and he said, do you know how we came up together? When we decided to form one party, the Tonse Alliance, we said, let God put his hand on us and let him lead us, because without God we'll not be able to do this. Those two people sat together and agreed and said, yes, we're going to come together as one party, but our greatest leader and the person that will go before us is God. You can come up with all the manifestos, you can have all the policies, you can have all the strategies, the frameworks, everything put together, but if you leave God out of the equation, ndiye ma results yameti pezaya. Ndiye ma results yameti nkala nayo. Don't forget, dear Zambians, that Zambia was declared as a Christian nation. Zambia has created a covenant with God. President FJT Chiluba, FJT, is it? President Chiluba made a covenant with God, and he said Zambia is a Christian nation. Kabam. Nobody Nobody will ever change that. No leader, no antichrist, nobody will ever change that covenant until the day Jesus Christ is going to come. FTJ Chilua. Thank you very much, my darling Yandi, for reminding me. I'm just too excited. I'm getting it all mixed up. Yeah? So, nobody will ever lift that covenant. Nobody will ever lift that umbrella of Zambia. If you people remember very well, I was young. But I remember about Chiluba ku State House, Lila, saying that he has, put the Zambia in the hands of God, and he has declared Zambia as a Christian nation. Whether some presidents do not acknowledge that, the fact that Chiluba declared Zambia as a Christian nation, Zambia will remain a Christian nation, milele, until the day Jesus Christ comes. Today we're seeing leaders chasing, what is the church? We're seeing them mistreating the church. And you are there as a Zambian celebrating. Mwaenda mambo vina na kuvina mambo panga na manyimbo. Do you know what you are doing? Jehovah's Witness is still part of Zambia. Even if they do not vote, Jehovah's Witness has members who are holding leadership roles in the government. Jehovah's Witness has youths. Jehovah's Witness has women, has men. They make up the population of Zambia. In fact, when I did my research, I found out that the Jehovah's Witness denomination, Yamu Zambia, it's one of the biggest in the world. One of the biggest in the world. Their conversion now, you have 3 days. That is a very, very important, meeting for the Jehovah's Witness. When I was young in Long Acres, where we used to live, from a flats, Pamwamba, we were living with a family, Bezelima Jehovah's Witness. Ikafika Jantayo conversion, they would invite almost everybody. They would carry food. I was young, nezoenda kochabe to those days, they would do it ku showgrounds, ngamukumbuka. Ya kuja kuchiho. Showgrounds sometimes, they would just always do it in Woodland Stadium. They would have their meetings, and then afterwards they would sit down and you would eat food together and all those things. I don't really remember what used to happen, but I would just tag along. For me, it was the food and just playing around as a child. But what I know is that the conversion is something that is important for the Jehovah's Witness. And just because you want to hold a rally, you are the president, you just give a command and you say, oh, even if they booked, that's okay. It's a Tibwele because it's a rally. What's happening at the rally? A variety show. You're holding a variety show. People coming one by one. Bavina. You as a leader, you come and you twerk. Afterwards, you start talking about the opposition party, calling them boys and insulting. Yes, that is an insult. If you people think that is not an insult, it is an insult. Unfortunately, our dear president is very subtle in the things that he does. He talks about not allowing anybody to bring division, but he is the one that's bringing division. Making statements such as boys cannot rule this country simply means he is bringing division. That is division on its own. Can't you see that? I am not insulting. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm just speaking the things that I'm seeing. If what I am saying is wrong, tell me, tenji unama. Tenji veukamba nvaboza, siyakunama. But this is just the reality. You cannot stand in front of thousands and thousands of people. You are a leader and you make statements such as boys cannot rule this country. That is bringing division on its own. Lead by example. Show us. The opposition party should be the ones throwing all this shade. You know what I mean? And not from the ruling party. You are the ruling party. You are in government. You should be comfortable. But when we start seeing such things, it's sending a message to us to say you are afraid. Mwayopa, so manje kwankala character assassination, kwankala machani, and we're so good at that in Zambia. Very, very good at that. When we see that somebody is coming up, this is a person that everybody's looking up to, others would go around and they'll start looking for all the bad things and anything and everything that they can say about this person. They'll start making cartoons out of them and all those things, trying to demoralize them and, push them in the corner. The bring down syndrome. We're so good at doing that as Zambians. Very good. The day we're going to stop that, we'll see ourselves going very far. If you thought that Nigerians were dramatic, I think Zambians are more dramatic than Nigerians. We're very dramatic people. Very, very dramatic people. Yeah? But I'm not saying we cannot do it. We can do it. We need to change. As we go along, we need to change. So this issue of sidelining the church, this issue of silencing our religious leaders, The other time it was Sunday Sinyango who was chased. They stopped his program for reasons better known to themselves. We all know how much respect we have for Sunday Sinyangwe. These are men that stood for the country. They stood in the gap. When they call on an overnight or like a Nyamula microphone, Sunday Sinyangwe, all of us, our hands were lifted up to the heavens. But look at what our current government is doing, undermining the very people that ushered us. The very people that ushered us, undermining them. And here we are as Zambians, we cannot even stand up and defend them. Oh guys, this is so wrong. This is so wrong. Cry, Mother Zambia, cry. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. Everything else that is going on in Zambia currently is so wrong. Sometimes, you know, it takes a person that goes out to actually see what is wrong in the inside. Yes, you might say Zambians in the diaspora, Mwankala too loud, you're getting too upset, you look frustrated and the like. It's because Tachokamo were outside the box, and then Tambosonjela were able to see now what is happening inside the box. Being outside the box has given us an opportunity to see. Yeah? And we're talking about all these things because we're realizing to say, even us, we took part in this thing. This thing was wrong. It was wrong. So if I don't want this thing to go on, I'm going to speak up. And this is why you're seeing people coming up and talking with so much rage and saying, you know, A, B, C, and D. It's because Chabava Kumtima. And we are patriotic. We love our country. You cannot get rid of us. If you're tired of Zambians in the diaspora, find us a new country where you will place us. But as things are at the moment, we're still Zambians. And if there was a way we could vote from where we are at the moment. If I have said anything wrong, I apologize. If I have said anything to undermine anybody, I sincerely apologize. But the only thing that I'm here to say is nothing but the truth. This is how I'm seeing things from my lens. And if my lens is showing me the wrong things, please tell me and I will step back. Tell me and I will step back. Zambians, you have closed your ears to the very men and women that ushered us in the presence of God. That is wrong. That is wrong. When you talk of what's happening with Edgar Chagwalungu, that's a video for another day. Because if I start to talk, even tears will flow down my eyes. I'll go back to where I stopped. I was talking about how Makebi ushered the incoming president of the Republic of Zambia, Brian Mundubile, 8th president of the Republic of Zambia. What is it that we are scared of as Zambians? Why are we scared of a new government? When we say a new government, that does not mean the whole Zambia is shifting. The only thing that happens is the cabinet will be dissolved. We will choose new members of parliament. Everybody else remains the same. The civil servants are still the same people. The policies that are in place will still be there. The only thing that the new government would come to do is either improve on the policies, replace the policies, and obviously they have to justify why they're removing what and giving us new things to do. We'll still have the same people as civil servants working. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance. Yes, they will change certain roles, but the bigger, the majority of the people will still remain in their positions. So even if we had to change government every 5 years, it's okay. We are not sweeping away the whole Zambia and bringing a new Zambia. There is nothing wrong with changing a government. It's simply saying, let us change and get a new leader. People are saying, let us give Hakainde another 5 years. And Kalamochabe 5 years. There's nothing much that he can do in 5 years for us. Wait a minute. Hakainde and the UPND have been in ruling for over 20 years. Ask me how. From the day, may his soul rest in peace, may his dear, beautiful, beloved soul rest in peace, Mazoka. The moment he stood as president for UPND, when he opened that party, the first time they went for elections was that 2001. They had about, was it 40 seats in parliament? They had a representation in parliament. All through the years, before we even gave Hakainde the chance to be the president, they had representation in parliament. So, how much more do we want to give to UPND? We have given them over 20 years and a 5 years bonus of him being the actual leader and calling the shots from State House. Otherwise, there hasn't been change. They have been in power. They have had a representation in Parliament. The ministers would have shown us the change that they want to show us now. Angati wanati wone sama ministers the years that they've been in Parliament by UPND. The only thing that we remember is them bailing out, getting out of Parliament, not voting for this, not voting for that, debating and all those things. But if they really had the passion to develop Zambia, they've had the opportunity. They've had the opportunity. Ati Saibalo. Iyo Saibalo na yoninkani for another day. Saibalo trying to silence us. Cyber law is only applicable when it's on their side where there are many. Nga cyber law where you wanna kuli watukuti ya breaking the law ni shankala cyber law. But when they're doing certain things where we cannot point out, they will pin us down and say it is cyber law. What is cyber law? Are you sure cyber law is cyber law the way it is supposed to be? I feel it's there to oppress us. It's there to scare us. It shouldn't scare us. Yeah, Davis is saying another 5 years to do what exactly? Nivichan Vanoza Chichitila for the next 5 years. If the very things that he had put in his manifesto, I just read them through, Makebi pointed them out one by one. They told us they would do ABCD for us. Mukumbuka even load shedding, what we were told. He told us to say the moment he comes into power, load shedding nishiaenda. For 4 years, Zambians do not forget. My beloved country, my beloved brothers and sisters, do not forget that you have experienced load shedding in Zambia for the past 4 years. Now that we're in the final year of elections, you have forgotten. Businesses have died. Vintuvambi livnachitika because of not having electricity. Huh? Last year, you've been in load shedding. Zambia there is my generator. Zambia is my koloboi. Zambia is my makendo. We were promised that load shedding would end. We were promised that load shedding was going to end. Kuri benesina yone ko load shedding. Load shedding is still after the end of my elections. This is really funny. But it's not. It's serious. Load shedding yasila. Load shedding yasila because we're going towards elections. Kule vaende. With all due respect, let's give new people a chance. If UPND is so passionate about Zambia, they'll have a representation of members of parliament that we know. They will speak through their members of parliament. Let's give Brian Mundubile an opportunity. Let's give him a chance. Let's give Makebi Zulu a chance. If you guys go on my Facebook page, I haven't been so active on Facebook. But if you go a year back, I think that was 14th June or something, the time Makebi went to South Africa for Walungu's funeral. I actually made a post and I said I would not be surprised if I heard that this man is going to stand as president. He's got the brains. He's got the new brains that we need. New. And then having my Brian Mundubile on board just makes it beautiful. This is God. This is God doing his thing. For the first time, Zambians, let's do something different. Let's do something different. Olorali ndikuti, Tonse Alliance number it, guys. Mwaona marali I'm never holding the crowds that they are pulling. How long did it take for UPND to be known in Zambia? How long, my people? How long? This party has been there. Tonse Alliance were counting weeks. But look at the crowds that they are pulling. This should tell you something, people of God. Let us give these people a chance and an opportunity to serve again. Let us give them a chance and opportunity to serve again. I will not stress this anymore. Imoweka muganize pochabe as Zambians. Let's give them a chance. And if they do not deliver what they have told us, I will come back. I will come back just like I have come back. I was a patriotic UPND. I loved UPND. I supported UPND as well at some point. Yeah? But if they have failed us, they have failed us. Yes, they have done so many good things. We are not disputing the fact that UPND has done something within the 5 years that they've been in power. We're not disputing. But we're saying, Zambia is over 60 years. We cannot still be going back to the same thing. When I posted something earlier, I was trying to show you foreign reserves for Tanzania. Tanzania is sitting at 6.0 billion in their foreign reserves. Zambia is sitting at 6.8. But when you look at the population, Tanzania is sitting on 69 million. That's the population for Tanzania. Zambia is at 22 million. Zambia and Tanzania almost have the same amount of money in the reserves, but Tanzania's population is 3 times bigger than Zambia. Tanzania's economy is doing better 10 times. So what's the whole point of us running and trying to build our foreign reserves and claiming to say once we do this, development is going to come? It is true. That is another channel of developing a nation. But we're saying there could always be another way as well. We are a small population, so we can shrink down and work with a certain amount. I asked a question in yesterday's video. I said, what is appropriate? Yeah, it might sound as a very funny and silly question to say what amount is appropriate. What amount does a country with 22 million people need in their foreign reserves? If Tanzania can thrive with a population of 69 million and a foreign reserve of 6.0, how about us with a population of 22 million? Tinganamo 3 times population ya Tanzania. But look at where Tanzania is at the moment. Why are we refusing to divert into other sectors and explore and see? From the day of independence, even before independence, kopa. Baka one day kopa is akasira Mzambia. Alright, there's a very important point that I want to mention that I've remembered. Let me go back to my notes. On now, we're going to talk about Mundubile's speech. What he spoke about. I'll go straight to that. All right. So, when Mundubile came on stage, he acknowledged and asked for 1 minute of silence for the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and said, our former president is still in the morgue, and as a sign of respect, for 1 minute, let us remain in silence. There was that moment, and then afterwards, he started. And for him, he didn't also beat about the bush. He went straight and sold his manifesto. He talked about the lack of medications in hospitals. Isn't lack of medication in hospitals an emergency for a country? He talked about the social cash transfer. How people were removed from the social cash transfer. People that were eligible were removed from the social cash transfer for reasons better known to themselves. And Brian Mundubile said once he comes back into power, he is going to make sure that everybody who qualifies for the social cash transfer is given an opportunity to access these funds. That is a promise he has made to us. My beautiful Zambians, let's count that. He went on and assured the farmers that they will keep to their initial promise of the distribution of seed and fertilizer. That this issue of sharing in medas and whatever is going to go. He talked about the RFA, and he mentioned to say, first week of June, he will make sure that the floor price is announced for maize for farmers, to give an opportunity for farmers to plan, to allow farmers not to be exploited by people who will come and buy maize at a very cheaper price because the government is delaying to give the floor price of maize. Reasons better known to themselves. Mundubile is saying, come his government, they will make sure by first week of June, the floor price is given And every farmer will know how much maize is being sold at. Yeah? He wants to get rid of this exploitation and all those things. And he talked about how they'll be buying the maize from the farmers, giving them the assurance and all that. He explained all that. I don't even want to go into details. But let us remember that he has given the word to the farmers that when he comes back into power, he will make sure that they receive their fertilizer and their seed from the initial promise that was made during the PF time. That thing that they enjoyed earlier. He says he's bringing it back. If it's the 8 bags, he's bringing back the 8 bags, plus the seed and everything else that is needed. He says he is bringing it back. Yeah? That is a promise he has made to the farmers. And he will make sure that the floor price of maize comes out by first week of June. Mwazila wants. Very, very important point that made me to come up with this video today when he spoke about the youths. I am so passionate about the young people of Zambia. Personally, I'm a Sunday school teacher. I taught Sunday school for 17 years. So many children have passed through my hands. Every church that I went to, whether it's in Zambia, it's in Tanzania, it's in the US, it's in the UK, I have always associated myself with the Sunday school. I have taught children for over 17 years. Taught them the word of God. Today when I'm going to in my universities, and they still refer to me as Teacher Tenji. So my heart beats for young people. My heart beats for children. Because I have sat and I have had conversations with children. I have broken through to children. Broken through to them better than even their own parents. To a point that parents would even come up to me and tell me to say, Teacher Tenji, so I am passionate about young people. Now, this is what Brian Mundubile said about young people. And especially young people that are uneducated. Yeah? I'll talk about education committee in Kuntango. He said he's promising that he will return the youths to the mines. The youths that were chased, Kuma mines, he says he's going to return them. He will not only return the youths to the mines blindly, chimpofu, no. This is what he says he's going to do. He says he's going to create job opportunities for them in the mines. He's going to make sure that licenses are decentralized. So instead of coming all the way to Lusaka to come and get your license for mining, he's saying it to be decentralized. In Mpika, they will have a district office where a young person can just walk and say, in enifuna license ya mining, nizachta branch. They will direct that young person, give that person forms they fill in, their license is given to them. Instead of what's happening, where young people have to travel all the way from Porokoso, from where, if they want to come and just get a license, meaning they're subjected to either sleeping at Itan City bus station, or they have to book a hotel and stay just to wait for their license. And we know how things work in some of these government offices. A form that can come out within 2 minutes, they'll tell you is that after 7 days, or after 21 days, or after Chakuti days. And then those days, iwonkala kumpika. Ubwele kumpika, then ubwele after 7 days na futi ku Zambia. So you end up staying Kulusaka. You end up staying and waiting for a document that could have been done within 2 days or within a day. So he's saying he's going to decentralize this. So every district will have that has mining opportunities. They will have decentralized offices where they'll be able to access these licenses. He's not only talking about giving young people licenses, he goes on to say he's going to teach young people on safe mining. This is where we miss it. Young people are getting trapped in mines because they do not know how to practice safe mining. In the end, we're losing lives. People are dying. Why? Because they do not have the knowledge of safe mining. And Brian Mundubile is promising us, he is saying he will introduce safe mining. He also goes on to say he will teach the young people on environmental protection. In as much as you're mining, you need to protect your environment. What's the right way to mine? How are we going to preserve our environment? And as much as we are removing resources from the grounds, how are we still going to preserve this land? Yeah. He's saying he's going to expose young people to environmental protection knowledge. Very important thing that he has promised. He says he will help young people to learn on financial management. Imagine Michael Piri akwanisa kutenga gold abapeza chigold beula all of a sudden. Yeah? Kuzankala mapati, kuzankala machani, they'll misuse that money. They will not know, they'll get excited. But he is promising them to say he's going to teach them financial management. Remember, Brian Mundubile has a background in accounts. Most of us just think he's a lawyer, but he has a background in accounts. Go and check his profile. Lillian Mutambo posted his profile today. You will see that on his profile, it says he's an accountant and he's also a what? A lawyer. And in accounts, there are subjects of economics. You will know something about economics. So everybody who's saying, oh, it's because he's not an economist, that's why he's saying all these things, and they're like, he understands and he knows what he's talking about. He's also gone to school, so you cannot send him back to school. He also talked about finding market for these products. So, ngama mining, ngama peza ma gold, they're going to help young people find the market. They'll not allow anybody to exploit them, but they'll find the market where all this will be sold. A fair market where they'll get fair prices. The other thing that he talked about in connection with mines, he says he is going to do a survey. So we know that in Solwezi, there's gold. We know that maybe in Mpika, there's whatever. Ukutizat kulichani. But what the government is going to invest in is they're going to do a proper survey to a point whereby if they map this place and say, pali gold, it's true, bakalima, bakakumba, bazapeza gold. So, bantu swazambo kumba chikumbe kumbe. Right now, what is happening is there's chikumbe kumbe. Pali ponsi pamenewa peza bantu wakumba. Pali ponsi pamenewa peza bantu wakumba because banasha declare ati kuplesi kuli gold. Bazakumba, zafika paka pansi, there's nothing. Bazavile kawavisiye chabe vintu so chabe. But then he's promising to say the government is going to be doing surveys, and when they do the surveys, they're going to be plotting these places, and once they're plotted, they'll be given licenses to mine. These young people and whoever is interested will be going to mine with the assurance of knowing exactly to say that patika kumba tizapeza ichi chintu. Very interesting rally today. I enjoyed today's rally. I picked up so many things. He talked of civil servants. Something very, very touching. I received a message today in my inbox. After yesterday's post, a lot of people have sent me messages. And trust me, I am reading those messages. The fact that I've not responded to some of them does not mean I've ignored you. But it's the pain that I feel inside. People are giving personal stories of what they're going through. The very teachers that they're giving jobs, the very nurses that have been given jobs. A teacher sent me a message and said, Mami, what is happening to us? We're living from loan to loan. From loan to loan. Lelo tatenga loan, it kind of series a loan ku microfinance company ku tabweza talipi tatenga na loan nango. Salary kabwela ni loan. Loan. And then I understand that what's happening is some leaders actually own these micro finance companies where they are issuing loans. And then they are touching institutions to say, oh, if you want loans, you can only get loans from this place. This place and this place will give you loans at a very good rate and all that. These are the recommended ones. We have a memorandum of understanding with these people. So if you have to get loans from these people. Making you feel secured to say, ukatenga ukundie kwa mino funkotenga malone, you have a fixed rate of interest and everything. We've entered into a memorandum of understanding with these people. They are directing you to those microfinance companies. In the background, they own those companies. In the background, they own those companies. So you're making them rich. Brian Mundubile is saying when they come into power, They are going to do what they're calling a debt sweep policy. They're going back to the debt sweep policy, where they will pay your debt and return you back to your original payslip. The government is going to come and take your burden. This is not me. I'm just adding sugar. I'm just stressing what he said. Slowly but sure. He said we are going to introduce debt sweep policy. Government will lift your debt burden. Let's try him. We cannot rule him out without trying. Let us try him. Social cash transfer, we talked about this, that he's going to retain this, and he will increase the amount. He will increase the amount that is being given currently. So, ngabapasa 400 kwacha, social cash transfer. He says when he comes into power, he's going to increase this. Lastly, but not the least, another topic that I'm so passionate about. Education. Free education. Mundubile says he is going to continue with the free education policy. But this is how he says he's going to do it. I want you to listen and listen real good. He's not only going to give children free education, he's not only going to provide feeding to the children, but he is saying he's going to provide quality education. My phone is about to shut down. Oh, why didn't I charge my phone? So he says he's going to build more classrooms, more schools. He's going to deliver quality education. He'll work on the teacher-pupil ratio. Yeah, he's going to create safe spaces for children. Feeding program alone cannot keep children in school. This is the child at the center. The school is around. Feeding program is an element. Around the child, there has to be other elements that will support this child to stay in school. The school has to be a safe space. They need to have the right curriculum in place. They need to have the right teachers in place. They need to have access to clean drinking water. Children need to have access to food. Children need to have access to information on their sexual and reproductive health and rights. There's a whole lot that needs to surround a child for you to keep a child in school apart from the feeding program. One day I'm going to do a video on this. This is something that I have done. I was master trainer for this. Worked under this program so closely. It is not only food alone that will keep a child in school. I will break it down for you. I promise you another video very soon that I will talk about the education sector and exactly what we need for us to keep children in school apart from the feeding program. It's a very good idea. It's a starting point. And all these things are beautiful documents that we have sitting in our Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education in Zambia is not doing, it's not like they're just seated there. They have created beautiful policies that have been adopted by countries like South Africa, you know, other SADC countries. I have proof and I can prove this to you. I would go and make presentations talking about the policies that we have in Zambia. I would be presenting. And other countries would come and adopt, and by the time we're going for the next meeting, they will acknowledge to say, we adopted this from what Zambia is doing and we have implemented it in our schools, in our country. This is under the SADC Secretariat. So I know exactly what we are talking about. And Brian Mundubile is saying quality education. Do you know what it means when you say quality education? It's a lot. We'll find time one day and we're going to break it down. Zambia is ready for a change, and the change that we need is Brian Mundubile. Give this man a chance. With his running mate, Makebi Zulu. Give them a chance. If you're listening to me, please, go home, think about it. Think about it. Remove all these emotions and everything else that is happening. Think deeply about it. This is the change we need. This is the change we want to see. This is the right person we're bringing into power. We acknowledge and we salute HH. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. But sir, we are saying, can we give room to a new person to give us a new face? Thank you so much for listening to me. I will end my live here. My phone is about to die. I didn't charge it, unfortunately. I thought it was charged, actually. So thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless Zambia. God bless my motherland. I love you so much. Bye.